They say when a baby is born, so is a mother. But while you are there to help your baby grow into the person he or she is meant to be, who is there to help you? Many women feel lost and alone when they become mothers, wondering, who am I now? Sometimes it feels like the transformation from woman to mother is as radical as a caterpillar's transformation into a butterfly. Did you know that inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar literally turns into goop before it rearranges itself into a butterfly? This podcast is about the goop, what soul transformation looks like as you transition from being a woman to a mom. Your baby's growth matters, but yours does too. You're not alone. I'm your host, Brittany Ming. Welcome to the Motherhood Metamorphosis.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Motherhood Metamorphosis. My name is Brittany Ming, your host, and today we are with Hillary Rodriguez. She is a pilot wife, working mother of three, travel lover, serial over volunteer, home baker, book lover, and disability advocate. Welcome, Hillary. I'm so glad you're here today.
Hi, thanks.
Yeah, so when you emailed me that you wanted to talk about your kids' special needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought, this is really close to my heart because I also have kids who have special needs. And I think that sometimes I even resist thinking about how much I've changed since our diagnosis and our journey, because we've been on this journey for probably 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like I resist thinking about that because our path has been hard. And reflecting on it sometimes just brings up all those painful memories. And even though my son has grown so much, it's still a struggle. So I'm really excited that we are talking about this today and that we can have a good conversation about it. So to begin, Can you just tell me your story and why this is close to your heart?
Well, it's been almost 13 years now because my daughter is going to be 13 in the middle of October. So almost 13 years ago, she was born. It was a month after Hurricane Ike came and destroyed Galveston Island and my home and my school and everything. So it was kind of a crazy time anyways. And then she was born. And we found out, well, we didn't know immediately that she had severe visual impairments. I think that there's a period with, I guess, all disabilities where you have a period of denial, I think a little bit that goes into it. So I was in a little bit of a denial period for probably about a week until we went to see the pediatric ophthalmologist. And that's when we really heard the severity of her visual impairments and what it would mean for her and our family. And it's been 13 years now.
Wow.
And it's been a bit of a journey for sure. Like you mentioned, there's a lot that goes into those first couple months, especially where you get a diagnosis and you have to just kind of power through it and do the best you can to get through it.
So is she blind or does she wear glasses? Can you tell us about that?
So she has what's called bilateral microphthalmia. And at first we thought it was just unilateral, so only in one eye. And basically it means she has small globes. Okay. So her eyes are smaller. And she has colobomas, which is missing parts of the retina, the optic nerve, and the iris. So that first visit, when you take an infant, she was a week old at the time. When you take a week old to the pediatric ophthalmologist and they have to put those speculums in the eyes. That was intense.
Gosh. Yeah, for real.
It was intense for her, obviously, but she doesn't remember. But for me, as a 1 week postpartum new mom, just was crazy for me. So, but yeah, we got her diagnosis and we didn't know what she would see at first. So we have learned over the years that she can see quite a bit with that one eye, and she does wear glasses, and she has some accommodations at school to help her succeed in her classes. And so she's able to get by pretty well. She's adapted pretty well. And her left eye, she is completely blind.
Okay.
So she is blind, and then she has severe visual in the other ones.
Okay. So you had this initial diagnosis as a baby. So tell me about a period of adjustment for you. So you had denial at first.
Yeah.
And then talk to me about adjustment, maybe about what you thought your motherhood journey was going to look like, and then how it actually has manifested itself.
Yeah. So there's a famous poem by Emily Pearl Kingsley. It goes into disability diagnosis and like the journey, right?
Mhm.
And so in that one, I related a lot to it. I think it was probably like the second month I read that, when she was 2 months old. But that first month, we had an MRI for her, because with her visual impairment and the kind of visual impairment she has, there's a really severe genetic disease that's associated with it. So the doctors at Texas Children's Hospital and Baylor College of Medicine, they wanted to rule out that genetic disorder. So part of that meant a lot of genetic tests for her and for me and my husband, as well as an MRI. So an MRI for an infant means that they get put under anesthesia. So we had to go to Texas Children's. She had to get put under anesthesia. And I remember after, obviously it's crazy taking your infant to Texas Children's. And at the time I was nursing her, so I wasn't able to nurse for like a full day because she couldn't eat. So very swollen, very emotional that whole day. And then I remember getting home and I kind of looked down at her. I was like, I was nursing her and it was just like very, very connected to her. And I remember telling her, I don't care if you can see anything, like you're going to feel that I'm here for you.
Oh.
So I get emotional even now. Oh my gosh.
No, I
13 years.
actually, my heart just feels that for you. And 13 years later, like those tears are still there. And I think that a lot of times we think, okay, I went through this hard time and it's over. And I saw this cartoon the other day on social media, and it was like this little, cartoon guy going around, and it's like trauma. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. Glad that's over. And like the next frame was this very long road ahead, and it just said processing. And he just had to walk that road. And I think that sometimes we think like, okay, I'm through that hard time. You got through that MRI. You got through like that non-nursing day where you told her like, I'm going to be with you. But even now, like that, those emotions are still there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're there. I'm glad I brought tissues. Jeez.
Yeah.
And like I said, that first month was hard. And then the second month obviously was hard too. But then I started really venturing and seeing, what there was out there for support. And that's when I read the poem that talks about, the community that you get. Like you have this dream of what your kids will be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything changes in a heartbeat. So we found a big community outside to kind of help us get through it, mainly on Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook is great for finding communities like that.
It really is. I know social media has its downfalls, but I think of generations, even just one generation before ours, thinking about how isolated a mom would have been getting a diagnosis and trying to find just one other family who would be going through what you went through with this diagnosis. And how it's probably not super common, but you were able to find people maybe all over the country and all over the world that you could connect with. Definitely. So talk to me about how finding that community, how did that help you?
Well, I think it was nice to, so, anytime you have a disability, whatever the disability is, things are a little slower. You don't hit your milestones when you should. So having someone there to kind of cheer on when they know like something is monumental, like Madeline, I remember once she saw a school bus like from the car, which I didn't even think she could see that far. And all of a sudden she could see a school bus. And I was like, I typed in, I was like, Madeline saw a school bus today. And everyone was like, yay, just something so simple, like seeing a school bus. Or when she finally walked, she didn't walk till she was about 18, 20 months probably. So a little bit later. But then she started running right away. But walking was a little bit delayed for her. And I think it was because she wasn't sure of, where things, she only has, monocular vision. So depth perception isn't there for her. So she didn't walk, when typical children would walk, or I guess sighted children. So when she finally did walk, we were able to celebrate that with our community. So it's nice to have someone there who kind of understands the struggles, but appreciates the joys even more.
Yeah, that encouragement is so important. You don't just want somebody to sympathize with you, you want somebody to celebrate with you and let you know that hey, your parenting journey is full of joy too, not just hard times.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how do you think that your special needs have shaped you as a person? I love that you wrote disability advocate under your bio. So, talk to me about that, how that's come to be in your life.
Well, I definitely never, I never expected to be an advocate. I obviously, like, you're a parent, and I've had two more children since Madeline. I'm a parent, and of course, I'm an advocate. But I found myself seeking out and kind of encouraging people whose diagnoses aren't in line with Madeline's, but still have the same struggles that come along with having a disability. They are the largest minority group in the country. Like,
Mhm.
it's crazy to think about, but a lot of the rights and the privileges that Madeline is going to need as she gets older, um, I mean, I will advocate for them where I need to. So if it comes to having to, just so many things, like, structuring our finances where she can be able to go to college independently, so she doesn't have, um, money that she can't qualify for disability services that she's entitled to, where it could be, just making sure she has the rights to take an Uber with a guide dog if she has one. Like, those are basic rights that a lot of people have, and we just need to advocate for them.
Yeah, definitely. My son is, I have three sons that are diagnosed ADHD, but one of my sons also is on the spectrum and has learning disabilities. And we're going through another child study at school. I think we've done one at like every single school we've been to.
Yeah.
And it's amazing seeing your tears. Um, I have had a lot of tears going through this again because every time we go through it, it's like you're reliving all those memories, all those
Mhm.
difficult times. And we're about to have our IEP meeting this
Okay.
Thursday. And so I was reading through all the documents. They just went through all this testing again to see like what he qualifies for. And I was telling my husband, I was realizing that I was getting kind of upset because he wasn't as concerned about all these things as I was. And then I realized that my fear about his future was just showing up in a really, really big way every time I do these IEP meetings.
Hmm.
I think, what is his future going to look like if we don't meet X, Y, and Z goal that are in these IEPs? What does that mean? And I just want to know like what his future is going to be. But I realized like that's my fear. And so that's something I carry with me as a child who has extra needs.
Hmm.
So does that resonate with you? Like something
Oh,
you carry with
definitely.
you?
Me and my husband have always been proactive about Madeline's future, for sure. And we've always, since her first public school IEP meeting, we've always thought about, what does this mean for Madeline when she gets older? Like, how is this preparing her for the future? And almost to the point where her therapists have had to say, we'll look at that when it's time to look at that. We got to focus on this stuff first. And I'm like, well, we kind of want to focus on this stuff right now too. So I have to do a little bit of trust, but then compromise in those. And when we are in IEP meetings, everyone's different, of course. But I definitely have fear, but I'm pretty positive that she has a lot of grit anyways, like, just inherently in her. So I think she'll be fine. She has a family that will support her, that's for sure, because we've always, um every activity she wants to do. I feel like any activity that she wants to do, I will put her in, because it gives her more confidence to succeed and kind of keep moving forward. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing for her. But the fear for sure is always going to be there. I think the fear is there in every one of my kids, but my two special needs ones for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that having these diagnoses, having these children with extra needs has changed me in so many good ways. Like I have connected with other families. I've been able to encourage people. I write our story. I see a world where I want him to succeed. And so you are constantly adjusting and making sure that he has all the opportunities or your daughter has all the opportunities, like making sure she can be in those any activity she wants to be in. You're like, yes, let's make it happen. All those things have made me a better, stronger, more empathetic person. But I also see how that my anxiety has increased, my fear about certain situations has increased, and about the future. So there's this balance when I reflect on how has having a special needs child changed me. I think it's that balance of like good and bad for myself as a woman.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I am 100% more empathetic than I was before. I don't like, I feel like I was empathetic before, you know, I cared about things, cared about people, but overall I care about kids a lot more. Like not even my kids, like I care about all of the kids a lot more. I want them to be good people and have a world that celebrates people that just that are different, because that's important, because our differences are so, they make us unique. And I always tell my kids that everyone's different. Some are different on the outside, some are different on the inside, but we're all different. So if we can teach our kids to celebrate that, I want to be able to do that for everyone. So
Yes. Yeah.
I want them to know how it feels to be different, but also celebrate those that are not like us.
Yeah. I've seen so much empathy in my son who's on the spectrum, and how he's just accepting to others. And I know that's in his heart, but I also know that it's because we've talked to him about, sometimes things are hard. I mean, when you see somebody else going through a hard thing, you can think about how you may struggle with that too. And we need to help
Mhm.
others and be kind and friendly and be a friend. And so I hear him talking like that. And I know that's both him and it's also me.
Yeah, you teaching him.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, yes, I
Yeah.
am a good parent.
Yes, no, that's I feel that too. Our middle son helps his sister. So here's another like heart-wrenching mom moment. Like eventually I have to let her orient herself independently, right? And so having a visually impaired child, that means not holding on to them, like, right? She's developmentally at an age where she shouldn't have to hold her mom's hand anymore. So that means having a cane and being able to do O&M training and walk independently into the grocery store. Well, sometimes either we don't have the cane or she just needs a little extra help. She will do something called sighted guide, where she'll either hold on to a shoulder or an elbow. And a lot of times I have the baby, the youngest one. So the person who does that is her younger brother. So
Mm.
and so her younger brother will help guide her in places, or he'll help read the descriptions on the television that he can see from the couch. Just little things like that. So it really has taught him to be empathetic, so much so that his they were having cupcakes at the school last week for a teacher's birthday, and his other teacher said Alejandro was counting the cupcakes because he wanted to make sure that the push kids, the special needs kids, got a cupcake too.
Oh,
Which just made me so happy. I was like, oh, it's so
that's
nice
so
of him.
tender.
Nice.
Yeah. I
So
love
the same thing, like I am doing something right.
Yes. Oh,
So
that's really special.
mhm.
You're doing a great job. And your kids are seeing the world in a larger frame.
Oh, for sure. For sure they are.
Yeah. I think of so many of the gifts that I've been given, even though the challenges you think I never expected to, go through any of these challenges that we've had before I became a mom. But I see how it's been a journey that has brought me both beauty and pain. And I'm thankful for where we are right now, even though it's been tough at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It has been tough. I think that we are more caring because of it. We and especially, counseling other families, usually on Facebook or in person too, with other volunteer work that I do. But that I care a lot more for them because I've been there. We've all been there now. And so it's like it's one of those things that we remember all of the emotion, because as you're trying to help other families get through it makes you want the best for them too.
Yeah. You don't want them to feel alone. You don't want them to get stuck in their grief.
No.
I remember talking to somebody once about they were going through a diagnosis. And I remember saying, you have to love your child more than your grief over what you thought
Yeah.
their future was going to be. And I
Yes.
said, I say that as somebody who has loved their grief at times more than their child.
Mm.
And I had to make a choice about whether or not I was going to grieve over their future or step into that love.
Oh yeah. That's
And
a big one.
yeah. And
Mhm.
so I just remember this person saying, like, thank you for saying that. And I also had to just say to myself, that was a big choice. Self,
Mhm.
you made the good choice, because it is easy to get stuck in your own grief.
Oh yeah, for sure. I always talk to people about, especially when their children are newborns and they want to know what to do. And my biggest piece of advice is just to appreciate them, who they are, and love them just right now because they grow so fast. Like they just
Yes.
do. Like you always hear that, but they just do. Time goes by faster. But getting over that grief and coming to the acceptance is a big thing, being okay with what your family is going to look like and the community you're going to get and all of these gorgeous things that come from it, is big. But that initial period of denial and grief is sometimes it's a lot for people to overcome.
Yeah.
But once you get past it, it's worth it. It's
Yeah.
a really, really hard journey, but gosh, there's so much. My daughter she's a very gifted musician, and I don't know if she'd be a gifted musician without a visual impairment,
Yeah.
because she heard things so much. Like even when she was a baby, she would get startled with noises because she would hear them so much. And she was always tapping on stuff. It drove me crazy. But she was always tapping on things, like wondering what things, like the sounds. And it was because she could just hear, she was making patterns in her head. I mean, that beauty never would have come, I don't think, without the visual impairments.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. I do remember talking to another friend who, I think we were talking about the idea that I didn't know if our son was ever going to live alone, like live on his own, like
Hmm.
independently. I think he will one day, but I'm not quite sure. It did take a long time to be able to be okay with that, to be able to say it's okay if he lives with us forever. And like I'm 100% there now. I was talking to another friend whose son has some similar challenges, and she said, I'm not there yet. And I said, that's okay.
Mm.
And so you were talking about your daughter's gifts, and we were discussing that grief and that journey. So sometimes it's not just about saying, I just want to get to the good part. I want to get through this grief and like see all the beautiful things. Remember, I'm just thinking that if I was going to give another mom or parent advice, to say that it takes time,
Oh, for
to
sure. It
give
takes.
yourself the space to be honest with your feelings and say, yes, there's all these beautiful things about my child, but it's okay if you're not there yet, and to deal with your emotions as they come.
I completely agree. It because I've never been fortunate. I haven't lost a child before. The pain I don't think can compare to that. But you do have a dream. You spend your whole pregnancy with coming up with these dreams and these, my daughter's going to be a doctor, and she's going to be an astronaut, and she's going to be these things, right? These grandiose things. And then all of a sudden, like, can she drive? I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to just wait and see. um, Things get a little bit different, and we have to get through that grief, and it takes time. I can't even tell you when I was, other than coming to the fact that I was going to be there for her for sure. I can't tell you when there was a moment when I was like, oh, this is okay now, because I don't know if there's ever, I don't like, we're in middle school now, so intermediate school is like it's like a whole different thing now. So even now it's like it can rock you a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
it's like you go through periods of being okay, and then
yes.
like, we're gonna hit high school next year, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna graduate in 4 years, and what is it gonna look like then? So then
Yes.
I have to just like calm myself down and be like, let's be in the moment. Let's be in where he is now, and not just get swallowed up by that fear about all the what ifs. So
Yes. The what ifs, all of the what ifs, that going from elementary to intermediate, there was a lot of what ifs. And I actually just got her paperwork for her IEP this month. And we're talking about transition to like out of high school. So her district is very they're being very proactive. They want to have goals in place for what it looks like when she goes to college. And so I had to write down, her goals for after high school. It's like, I don't know what we're doing after high school. I was like, I don't, luckily we've attended some seminars. So we're in Texas. So the Texas State School of the Blind has some seminars that they do put on for us. So we know what options are, which is great because I like to know what the options are. So I just kind of wrote down, some stuff that we've been discussing, because for Madeline, she is a highly able child. So the only disability she has is her visual impairment. So she is able to make decisions for herself outside of that. So we've discussed, what do you want to do? Knowing what limitations you might have, what do you want to do in the future? So we've kind of talked about that a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, you can't go.
You have to stay with me forever.
You're gonna leave. But at the same time, that's what I say on the inside to her. I'm like, you have to go. But then I close the door and I'm like, gosh, you can't leave me.
Yes. It's that both and that is such a struggle in motherhood. Yes. You're like, I want to push you out of the nest, but I want to keep you with me forever.
Oh, safe in the bubble, where I know where you are all the time.
Right. Yeah, I can be safe. I can comfort you when things are tough in life. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. I think that's where the special needs community just bleeds into the universal mother experience, because I think we all have that wanting to protect our kids, but we want to also push them to be everything that they can be.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I loved our conversation, Hillary. Thank you so much. This was really, really special for me. And I'm so glad that you cried. I mean, I cried.
My daughter's gonna be like, you always cry.
You're like, it's okay. It's because I feel so much.
She says that all the time. She's like, you always cry. I'm like, well, I mean, that's who I am. I'm okay with it now.
Yeah. I love it. I love it that you showed up with all your emotions. So to end our time together, I have these 10 rapid fire questions that I like to ask that are just for fun. Okay. So are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Number 1, which Disney princess would you want to take out to coffee?
Take out to coffee? Ariel.
Nice. Number 2, what's one thing you must have on your nightstand?
Chapstick.
Me too. I am a chapstick. If my lips are dry, I cannot fall asleep. I must have chapstick. Your go-to treat after the kids go to bed?
Ice cream.
Yeah, same for me. I found this like cookie dough brownie ice cream that's been a current favorite. It's been very, very good.
Sounds good.
All right, number 4, heels or flats?
Oh, that one's hard. We'll go with flats just because that's what I wear most often, but I like a good heel.
You like
I actually wear boots at work. So, I mean, a heel's nice.
Yes, that's great. Last show you binged and loved?
The last show I finally invested in Hulu. So Younger on Hulu, I watched the last season. So
I love Younger. It's so funny. And I just love the social commentary on like how society views women.
Yes, I like Younger. Good.
Yeah. If you run out of this, you have to go to the store.
Milk. Yeah.
You got to have milk. Cereal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who makes you laugh?
Oh my gosh. I guess my family makes me laugh. We laughed a lot last night. We had dinner last night. We laughed a lot.
That's great. Texting or talking?
Texting.
There's just something about just that instant back and forth, and you don't have to, the awkward phone call. Yeah. What are you looking forward to?
Me and my daughter are going to New York next week for her birthday, for her 13th birthday trip. We've been talking about it forever, and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to go because of, everything right now, but we are going next week.
That's so awesome. I hope you guys have a great time. What's one thing you're going to do? What are you planning on doing?
Well, she loves Broadway and she likes musicals, so we are going to go see the show Six on Broadway. It's
I
a
love
musical.
Six.
You're going to see
We've
that.
had that soundtrack playing
Yes.
in our car. So that's awesome. I love that. All right, final question. Finish this sentence. Motherhood is.
Motherhood is hard but rewarding.
I love that. All right. Thank you so much, Hillary, for being with us. If you would like to follow her, you can find her on Instagram at Castillo85. I will put that in the show notes. I'm sorry if I butchered that.
Okay.
She has also written for Her Review for Home and has an article coming out on the 17th of October. So depending on when this airs, you need to go look for her article. All right. Thanks, Hillary.
Okay.
I hope you have a great day. I'm so glad I got to talk to you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Motherhood Metamorphosis. If you've enjoyed this episode, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so you never miss an episode. Next, tell your friends. Podcasts are a slow growth type of social media, so promo works best when it's from person to person. If you know another mom who's in the goop right now, send her a text of encouragement and the link to the episode that is speaking to your heart right now. If you have a story about your own matrescence, the physical, emotional, hormonal, and social transition that occurs when someone becomes a mother, please leave a comment below. I want this channel to be a place where women can build community about the challenges and joys of their own motherhood metamorphosis. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope it encouraged you and gave you some good food for thought. If you ever have any questions, comments, or you'd like to reach out to me personally, you can email me at brittanyaming@gmail.com.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
you're working too. Yay! We figured it out. I mean, every single time I feel like this is just trial and error. So every time it works, I'm like, yes, it's working. But I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trial and error. So, hi, Hillary.